I'm on a time frame here.
Yeah, I understand. Oh, I was looking at that camera. That's not me. I'm over there.
You're over here, dude.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, is this in the way? Probably. I'll just set that right.
Yeah, you did. What about annoying?
Rolling.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 34 of the Slightly Serious Sign podcast. I have a new person sitting next to me, if you didn't notice.
Made it. They chained me to my chair.
He said he'd come on once viewership started going down, so we brought in the big guns for episode 34. So
Buckle up.
I did want to say, so besides the live episode, we did episodes with guests, 19 episodes in a row. So besides the live one, this is the first one that we've only had Wensco people on since whatever that is, episode 17, 18, 15, 12, somewhere in there, like a long time ago. So we did it. And then we ran out of people and we had to bring on Tony. So
yeah, it's dying.
The bottom of the barrel. Here we go.
Yeah. Do we have anybody at the shop today that can talk? Let's get Tony.
Tony's office is in the corner. So we basically worked from one side to his office and then went to the other side and worked all the way back to his office. Everyone else said no.
His office is the furthest office from my office.
Yeah, it's true. So we went both directions and tried to find somebody. I don't even know. It was really just somebody that would want to come on. That might have actually been the problem. So, and Tony probably didn't also want to come on, but he gave in. So.
I've held out long enough.
Yeah, it's time. So we're bringing Tony on. We just did an awesome trade show last week. So we were going to talk about our trade shows dying. So that gives you an idea of how that show went last week. So there was actually 2 shows last week. So we did one in the cannabis industry. It's a vertical market for us. And then you walked the GPX show in Indy. And it feels like from what we're seeing, a lot of the regional shows are at least slowing down. I'm not going to really say, I'm not going to say dying necessarily, because that feels a little harsh to some of them. The one we did, yeah, okay, sure, but the other ones maybe not dying, but definitely slowing down and seeming like they're going to need to at least pivot a little bit. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about. So on our end, like we said, we did a cannabis show and we scanned 6 leads.
Yeah,
6 leads.
It was in downtown Cleveland. And, we were expecting a pretty good show. It seems like there has been a lot of movement in that industry in general. So we were pretty pumped about it. And like Tyler said, I didn't even attend the second day because there was nobody there. So
yeah, it's the only show I've ever been to where we tore down the booth early. Yeah. And we had to force our way out of the show because they weren't even going to let us pull our stuff out of there, but we pulled it off. Yeah. So that's how ours went. And you walked GPX. What did that look like from your side?
So I walked GPX Indy. It was small. It was really small. And my whole purpose was how many sign guys are here or how many something related to the sign industry outside of t-shirts.
Yeah.
And the reality is there was one shop there that did signs, that did wholesale signs. I talked to them. But other than that, everything was t-shirt. There was one of our competitors there that had one printer there. But other than that, there wasn't anything outside of t-shirts there. Even like the GSG was there, which is one of our competitors, and their entire booth was t-shirts. Well, they're in that market way more than us.
But they have sign equipment.
They have sign equipment. They didn't bring sign equipment, which is smart on their part. But I walked the whole show and everything was DTF, heat transfer, direct to garment.
So just catering to the apparel industry.
And then a boatload of software people. Hey, I got this software. I got that software. I got this. I got that. People trying to yank us into the booth. I did meet, there's people that make screens for screen printing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, where are you guys from? Newaygo. I'm like, I live in Sparta. Like, we're right by each other. And then I got to talking to them, and they actually own a big screen print company. It's like, no wonder you can't sell equipment. You can't burn at both ends right there. And then the very next person we talked to she was a software thing. She had she had like a 90-inch touchscreen in her booth. And where are you from? Oh, I'm there, but I grew up in Cedar Springs. What is going on here? Like
Michigan show.
Like, yeah. So, yeah. But no, the show the day I went wasn't heavily attended. I mean, I didn't go all day. I was just there Friday morning, but I walked the entire show. And we were out of there in 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I went to my first, it was an NBM before GPX. I think that was like 9 years ago. And it was a pretty busy show down there. I mean,
yeah.
Obviously the trend has changed now.
Yep.
So
if you even look at it like I think a lot of that is pre-COVID too. If you look at it before then, they were pretty busy shows. I mean, like even you look at RapsCon from before, it used to be huge, right? And it seems like it's slowing down. I won't say that they're dead. From the people we talked to that exhibited at GPX, they said it basically was slow in the mornings and then would pick up closer to the end of the day. So maybe there was more people Friday night.
That's what the couple of different vendors told me when I was there. Like at 1 o'clock, everybody started showing up.
Yeah.
So
but still, it's going to be hard to quantify that.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at that show and the money that you put into it and the hassle, it is expensive.
Yeah. And there's absolutely nothing worse than exhibiting at a trade show and just standing there by yourself. Like, and sometimes that might just be hours, right? That might just be, hey, don't do the show from 9 to 5, right? Like, don't make me sit here for 7 hours when really it's busy for like 4, right?
Exactly.
Like that's the purpose of our open houses, right? We go
1 to 5.
We go 10 to 2 or whatever. No, 10 to 2.
Cram everyone in.
Yep. Pack them in tight, get in, get out, get your knowledge, and we got to get on to the next show.
Yeah. That it would feel, and you also feel way better as like, right. If I do a show from 10 to 2 and 100 people show up, that show feels good. Right. 4 hours, I talk to 100 people. If I do a show from 9 to 5 over 3 days and I talk to 100 people, that's a bad show. Even if the cost was the same. The reality is that is a waste of time.
Well, even the people that are working the show, like especially our open houses, you have jobs outside of working an open
100%.
house.
Yeah.
So like give them time in the morning, check emails, get done at 2.
Absolutely.
Then get their emails to the end of the day. Like make it easy on everybody. And we do too, right?
Yeah.
Like we got to get our emails and we got to get other branches. We don't just have, it's just that branch today. We have multiple branches to cover.
Yeah. And we say that we say these regional shows coming out of, we all went to Print United and that show was, I mean, it was packed.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, most of the vendors seem happy. Some of them were way on the outskirts and you got a little unlucky with how
location plays itself into that role.
Yeah.
A little bit
how the
there.
whole layout of that show worked, which that's its own debate on its own, which we already talked about. But, other than that, like, I mean, it was a busy show. So I don't think we're saying trade shows are dead. They're definitely not. I mean, ISA was busy in April and Print United super busy in Vegas.
What other industries do you think that trade shows are still very necessary?
I mean, I think in most of the industries, you probably have your big trade shows that are still important, right? Like construction.
Well, look at the big ones like CES, Consumer Electronics Show. I mean, that's going to be huge every year.
Yep.
Construction equipment, huge.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think regionally, it's a lot harder. I mean, everything's gotten so expensive that it's like the main thing I think you're going to see is you're getting way less vendors at these shows. Like you said, it's small. It's really easy to walk. If I go to a show this year, right, and I can walk it in 25 minutes, I'm not going to go back in next year and be like, that's a waste of my time. And that's kind of the death spin they're in, is they're not getting vendors to come at the shows. So then people aren't coming back.
So it's not appealing, right?
But one of the reasons for that is it's gotten so expensive, right? You're talking booth space. Travel is ridiculous. It's twice what it was 2 years ago now. Like hotels used to be, probably our average used to be like 120 for us to stay at a Fairfield. We're probably at like 220 now.
Yeah, especially when there's a show going on, you stay close to the show. Yeah. I can say Indianapolis was not. We stayed at the Fairfield right in Indianapolis downtown, and I was 110.
There we go.
And the hotel was half empty, and it's right next to a trade show.
Yeah, that's not a good sign either. Oh. Yeah, you'd like the hotels.
And normally, years ago when you couldn't go into Yard House and eat because everybody would bring their vendors and stuff. We walked right in, sat right down.
Yeah,
like there was wide open tables, so it wasn't like the town suffers too, right?
Yeah,
because they're especially right around trade show they're
supposed to be packed. Yeah.
It's a lot of their revenue. So,
well, and it's a hassle too to deal with some of these people at these events.
Listen, we can say it. We can say it. I mean, it's no secret that they're run by unions, and they have certain jobs that they have to do, they can't do, and like there's certain things where it's like, listen, dude, I just need to carry this box from here to there. Just close your eyes and let me carry my own box. Past this threshold. And no, I got to carry the box this 5 feet for you.
There was one show where they wouldn't even let us pull up to the dock because we didn't pay the union to get to the dock.
Yeah.
So Mike and I carried all of our stuff
from the street
on the street, down an elevator.
We had to go upstairs. Remember?
Yeah,
luckily we had a couple younger guys with us that time to help us. Like we had like heat presses and everything. Like
nope, we could not use their dock.
Yeah, we had everything that we can carry too. It wasn't like we need no help. We can carry it all.
Yeah.
And like, no, like, oh, you can't roll that cart over here. Wait, you have the same cart. You have the exact same wheels, the exact same cart.
It's the same. Like what? So the last show we just did, we had a pallet jack, right, to haul a piece of equipment in. That we wouldn't have been able to get that pallet jack into the show.
Oh, no.
We dropped the machine and rolled it the rest of the way.
Yep.
But if we had tried to roll it in with the pallet jack, they would have thrown a fit.
Yeah.
It's just like
Why?
the most random rules. Can't have carts. Whatever it is. And this isn't everyone, right? Because like we said, we just did this one. They wouldn't let us in the building to tear down the show. And eventually we ended up getting in. The one guy throws a fit. The other guy just literally was like, hey, we got it. And the union guy comes over. He literally pushes the machine into the trailer for us. Like, hey, let's get this thing out of here. And so it's not everyone. And I don't even think necessarily it's them. I mean, some of it might be, but some of it's just like, we have these rules. My job is to make sure that we follow these rules. That's my whole job here. So,
well, I think sometimes too, like, well, no, I can't help you. I got to unload this entire area, but 20's a 20.
Yeah.
It's like, give him a $20 bill. And next thing you know, you have your crate first.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like,
just some of the most random.
Yeah.
But we say that to say, like, if you're already having a hard time getting vendors to the show because the costs are high and there's not a ton of attendees compared to what it was before, we're not getting sales at the shows like we were before. A lot of it is people just coming to look and buy later, which makes it hard to, on the marketing side of things, to say like, hey, was this show worth it? Be like, I don't know. Technically, we didn't sell any equipment. I mean, maybe we'll sell it later, but at the show, we didn't sell it. So how do you quantify all that with also how difficult it is to actually just go to the show and set up and tear down and ship it in, all the weird rules that are with that, and shipping is not fun either. It's super expensive. And I mean, literally at RapsCon, we shipped on a skid and we got boxes in our booth. I didn't even know if we had all of our stuff. Like, it literally just, the skid didn't make it to the booth.
Well, so, remember, we gotten to the point now where we go and we'll hit the Walmart up and buy a little TV monitor and just leave it at the show because it's cheaper to ship.
Yeah, it's literally cheaper to buy a TV and table at the show than it is to ship it in.
And then literally leave it at the show.
We leave it there.
Yeah, you don't want to ship
because you don't want to ship it back. Well, that's the same. What was
if you ship it back, you're gonna have to ship it to the next show, and you're gonna lose your money.
It was RapsCon that our skid was in the wrong booth too, right?
Yeah,
and it was clearly marked what booth it was supposed to be in. It was clearly in the wrong booth. Lucky it was somebody we knew.
Yeah,
so we found it fast because someone's like, "Hey, we got your skid over here." But like, it's
yeah. Luckily, their system for tracking is actually pretty decent. So once I gave them the actual shipping number, they then knew where the skid was. But if I hadn't done that, because all the labels got ripped off the skid, so
well, they restacked it somewhere.
So it was literally just a pile of boxes. And then that guy who didn't know that he had our skid at one point in the show came back later and was like, "I thought you were playing a joke on me because I just keep finding Wensco stuff all over our booth." I was like, "Oh no, they gave us. You had my entire skid when we showed up at the show." So it's just getting more difficult to do them, and less people are showing up. So
even like in if it's a regional show, we try to bring everything. Like we try not to ship anything. But when we did the fast signs in Orlando, remember how far we had to walk? They made it like it was a mile and a half, I think, that we had to walk all our stuff.
Yeah.
It was, and then they wouldn't let us in. Remember, then I got in anyways. You got to give her a little wink. And
no, that one is,
remember, you can't go through this. You can't go through this area. Like, yeah, we can.
No, that one, we ended up with a problem with, we got in to set up our stuff. That was the problem. We couldn't get in and we had to sneak our way in basically to get in the show. And then to get out, the show closed and they were like, yeah, we're not going to open the doors for another 2 hours. They weren't even going to let people start leaving for 2 hours. Like, what were you supposed to do?
Yeah,
you talking about this one? Yeah,
and we had a small booth
from 2 to 4. What were you supposed to do? We're just supposed to sit there, just wait for you guys.
That's when you hosed me. Remember, you said, "Oh, I'll go get the car," and I had to make 3 1-mile trips and carrying stuff.
And then they blocked, and they also blocked off the road, so I couldn't even. The parking lot was a half mile from where the front door was, and I drove like 4 miles to get to the front door. They blocked the whole road off both times, so I had to go all the way
That's
around.
his excuse. Meanwhile, I'm carrying coolers full of Monster that we didn't give away and stuff like that.
Yeah. I felt nice and cool by the time I got back.
No, actually what happened, it kind of was my fault. Remember, we had a dolly, and I ran the dolly out full of stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'll just go back and get the coolers.
Yeah.
Didn't bring the dolly.
Oh, no.
So then I had to carry
it was
2
worse because we had wrapped the thing to the dolly because we thought it was going to fall over. So then you couldn't even reuse the dolly. Yeah. It was just the dolly then became a permanent cart fixture.
Yeah.
But that's how difficult it is. So if you're listening and you do these shows and you're like, why are there less and less people showing up? Hopefully this gives you a relatively decent idea of why it's
make it a little less difficult. Make it a little more appealing to customers and us.
We did a lot of events this year.
We did. Yeah. I mean, we did. I don't know. I should have wrote the number down.
And we're doing fast signs coming up too, right?
Yep. So we did, I don't know, 10 plus shows this year, I think, which seems crazy, but we were trying to see which ones are worth it for us to do, right? And some of them are definitely worth it to do. And some of them are like Signrama show.
Fantastic.
10 out of 10. Great show. They pull people in that show. Fast sign show, they get their people to the show. But some of the other shows, it's a lot harder.
These regionals are, they're
rationalize
struggling.
that money.
All right. So are we moving on to segment 2? Segment 2 is
sure.
Happy birthday to Tyler. Tyler had a birthday this week. He was at a show. This is his big birthday. He's 30 years old. That puts me at 42.
Yep. Yeah, I think so.
I'm 42.
That's how the math works. Mm-hmm.
So it's Tyler's 30th birthday, and that the question gets, and Tony's kids are about the same age as my kids. So what do you get your adult children for their birthday? Because the reality is, if you give them a gift card, and this happened to him already, if you give them a gift card, you lose it to your wife, right? You
lose it. It's two. Yeah.
It depends. Yeah. Like,
but if it's Amazon, it's gone.
If it's Amazon, well, anywhere. Where are you going to get one that just you're going to go?
That's true. Not many places.
So, like, you get them a gift card, or what do you get? Like, so Tony, what do you get?
So we got to the point now where we don't officially get gifts. I think, my wife will pick up a little something for him, but we'll take them out to dinner. And I'll tell you what, when you take 4 adults out to dinner, or 6, if the other 2 go, you would have been cheaper getting a gift card because it is expensive.
Oh, they've hosed me a few times on these.
We let him take.
They took me out for my birthday. Hey, Dad, we're going to take you out to your birthday. We get to the end, and this is Brazilian Steakhouse.
Yeah, the old one.
The old one. Yeah. And we get to the end, and they're, they had a couple drinks too. And like, oh, how are we splitting this check? I'm like, 2, and they're going like 1 check. I'm like, well, I know who that 1 check's going to.
Really just a gift.
Holds me for like $600 on my own birthday.
The gift we're giving you is the bill at the end of dinner. That's really the gift.
So here's what I decided. I got Tyler this year, and I think I'm going to do this going forward. Is I just got him food. Like I literally bought a full brisket. And then some lamb chops that he can smoke
for the freezer.
I have 10 pounds of meat sitting in my car right now.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I just got him a full brisket. Yeah. I was going to get him like a full prime or something like that, which I might do for like when Tristan's coming up. But I forgot to just get him meat. Like they all like to eat meat, or get them food that they can cook, and that way I don't want to take them out to dinner and deal with their kids. And then and a gift card he's just going to lose anyway. So
I just did lunch.
It gets easy to shop for kids, though. I mean, now that they have houses, they need tools, they need all this stuff. So.
Oh, they don't.
I'm setting you up for that one.
Yeah, they don't need tools.
You just got to keep buying more.
I need to buy more for myself when they take mine.
You could just do that instead.
Like, it's funny when you start asking about, all of a sudden it's like you think they just have one tool, and next thing you know, they're backing up to the garage unloading stuff. Like, oh, you had more than just my saw.
I need a whole pallet of stuff to bring it back.
Well, happy birthday, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks.
Big number there.
That's what Tony said on the way back. The show was horrible, so it's Friday, my birthday. And I was like, yeah, it was the worst show. And Tony's like, yeah, worst case scenario. He said it could have been worse. It could have been like a milestone birthday for you, and you could have worked the whole day at the booth. I said, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I can't believe Tony didn't go to the booth and let you just go do something on your birthday.
Oh, I had a great time. They were handing out gummies and brownies at the show. It was awesome.
I see. Yeah, you didn't be drug screened today?
I was just telling them for day 2 of the show, the booth behind us was handing out literally gummies and brownies, but they were just regular gummies and brownies because they make the mold for them. That was what that company does. So they had told us, yeah, they're just like regular ones. And so then the whole day, anytime anyone walked by our booth, I was telling them the booth behind us is handing out gummies and brownies, but like, they're only handing out one, so just like sneak around and grab them so that they wouldn't talk to them. So I said, all these people brought home these gummies and brownies thinking they were not regular ones, and got home and they were just normal ones. So,
nice.
What else I got to do?
Yeah, all 8 people that were there.
Yeah, all 7 people that so it was like the 14 staff.
Yeah,
the staff that were working the show ended up walking around and collecting all the goodies. So that's good. But
that's not too bad.
So anyways, we did have questions because Tony's on. So Well, we should have explained this at the beginning.
Wait, we forgot to say who Tony is. All right,
he's just here.
Start over. Welcome to episode 34 of Slightly Serious Sign Podcast. Our guest is Tony Walkons. Tony, can you introduce yourself? Tell us about your family and tell you how you got here.
So I've known Mike my whole life. I say that lightheartedly, but it truly is. I think we knew each other when we were we played soccer together when we were 7.
There's a video of us on the same soccer team at 7 years old.
7 years old. The
Remember those
sunspots.
pennies?
Oh yeah, it was a bad deal.
Yeah. Sweet.
So anyways, we went to school together, and then like Mike mentioned earlier, we both had our first kids pretty close to each other. So Tyler and my son Sebastian went to school together and kind of grew up together. So Mike and I did some coaching together. So we've gone back and forth. I was never in the sign industry until I got to know Mike. I came from a completely different industry, material handling, that kind of thing. Talked to Mike a little bit. He brought me on 10 years ago now to come on here.
I saw that on LinkedIn.
10 years.
Holy crap, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah. So we came in here and changed things up a little bit. This company's more than doubled in size over the time. So we've had some growing pains, but we've also had some real good success. And Tyler's a result of that. I mean, he's doing a great job marketing for us. But no, I've got a son and a daughter, Sebastian and Savannah, and then I'm married to Tanya. Tanya's
he was gonna pay you
if he'd give me money under the table.
That's the best $20 I ever spent.
So, but it's been awesome. 10 years. It's been fun. Love this industry. Got to know a lot of very good people. We're going to continue to push the needle a little bit forward here. So yeah, that's it, I think.
So we had him do that intro now because we had questions that we've been asked before already on this, but we figured we would ask Tony as well. We answered some of these on the live episode, I think.
Yeah.
But figured
we could get Tony's
on the sales
through and through sales rep, sales manager type person. Like we're gonna ask him these questions. You're going to get a politically correct
so there's a lot
sales rep answer right here.
Opportunities out there. Let me tell you.
All right, what's the
opportunities?
Let's start with what's the best part of the sign industry.
Well, it's the people. I'll tell you what, man. When you're dealing with the people that are in this industry, we talk about it all the time. It's arts and crafts every day. That's what they do. So it's hard to be angry, I think, when you're putting stickers on stuff. In previous industries, when I was in sales, I'd go into the place. If you walk by a no soliciting sign, a lot of time they throw you out. Say, hey, can't you read? I've never had that happen once in this industry. Most of the time they'll come in, I'm real busy. You'll be leaving 2 hours later. You'll know all about them.
It was like one of your first weeks.
Yeah.
When we walked in, we don't have time for you. And I just kind of smiled at him. Next thing you know, it's 3 hours later. He's chasing us out in the parking lot. We're trying to get out of there.
He wanted to come with us or something. So no, it's the people. It's a great industry. It's been a lot of fun to play in. So,
all right. Next question is, where do you see Wensco in about 5 years?
In 5 years, we'll have a few more locations. I don't think fundamentally the company's going to change. And I say this to everybody all the time. We do a great job of interacting with our customers. All right. There's a lot of players out in this industry, or I should say a couple of players in this, that are pulling people with experience and knowledge off the streets. That's not Wensco. I say that to all the customers too. It's expensive to have people out there on the street, sales reps. But there's a benefit to it. It's got to be a value. And that value is having these people, like we're talking about trade shows, all of our sales team and some of our inside folks too, they take a lot of pride in knowledge. Okay. They share that knowledge. That's what they're for. Tyler had a stint as an outside salesperson. You get to see that. I mean, you have to have, a good understanding of the products that you sell. And that's what we do. We pride ourselves on that. So I don't think it's going to change fundamentally, but I think we're going to continue to expand because people want that.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're running into places where our competitors aren't putting sales reps on the road. So they're only getting phone calls. And sure, there's some value to that, but I think there's a lot of cons with, you're not learning about anything new. A lot of the times it's, hey, what are you buying? Can we sell it to you? Versus our reps on the road even with the United boxes out on the road, right? Like you're never going to know about a new product unless someone shows up to show it to you, right? Like if I call you and tell you, hey, we got this new United LED, it's sweet.
Well, we have manufacturers now that are hiring people to do our jobs effectively. Yeah. And you guys have talked about that, I know, a little bit.
Yeah, that's my biggest worry about this industry is, as some of the bigger players are requiring manufacturers to go out and do the job that we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
At what point do they not need us?
Right. That's just
at what point can they just they are going to hire people to go out and sell it? Amazon can deliver it. Like some of these bigger players don't realize you're eliminating your own jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And then maybe they don't care. Maybe they plan on selling, but we don't plan on doing that. Like we're going to plan on fighting until the end.
Yeah, they might not realize delivery might actually be the easiest part of this.
Yes.
This whole thing. Like in terms of for somebody to come in and take it from you, that's not the hardest part, right? There's a lot of 3PLs out there now. I mean, most of it is all another company delivering another company's product, right? So if that's all we do, then someone else can do it and probably be cheaper than we are. So that's kind of where we might run into issues. If there's no value on our side of things, then the manufacturers are just going to go direct.
Exactly.
They're going to have no other option.
Yep. So we're not going to be those people. We're always going to take the time to train our people to go out there and be those educated folks that you can ask questions of. So yeah, we'll just continue to expand.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this all day. I've been praying. Will, this is a week later, but I've been praying for you all night because I know Don Long's riding with you today. So hope you're doing.
You're in our thoughts.
Yeah, you've been with him for 2 hours now. You're in our thoughts and prayers. So anyway,
I hope he makes it.
Yeah.
Don called me late last night. Like he just needed someone to talk to. Don, love you.
Yeah.
Yep. He'll comment on this video because he always does every episode.
All right. So Tony, here's the next one. What makes a good outside sales rep?
They have to care. Honestly, I'll tell you what. And you have to have work ethic. It is getting so difficult to find good people that are going out there. You have to be money motivated. All right. Really, salespeople are paid commissions that based on the success of their sales. And if you're not willing to get up in the morning and get going early and stay late and do what you got to do, you're not going to be very good at it. But it's getting increasingly more difficult to find people that are self-motivated like that. I think we've got a great team. A lot of our sales team is like that. They take it upon themselves to learn what they need to learn. We've got a good support structure that helps them. But at the end of the day, answer your question, you got to get up and get going. You got to get out there and make it happen. So there's things you can't teach people. I mean, a charisma. I mean, you want to have a customer that's not hiding and drawing the shades when you're coming up. And we've had issues like that in the past where it's just you're not as, I don't want to say likable, but it's not as approachable as other people. But yeah, I mean, have a good attitude. People are willing to talk to you. You know about the products. You're going to be successful. So
even if you don't know about the products, the other one is being able to actually get the answer to them.
Yep, absolutely.
And it being right. That's the other problem.
Well, you'll never know everything, but I'll tell you what, it's something where, like you said, hey, I don't know, but I'll find out and get back to them. That's it, man. It's pretty simple stuff.
And make sure you do it. Yeah. I think a lot of times too, you talk about people being money motivated. I think there's also a part of like, we always talk about like sales pipeline. Everyone's familiar with that term at least, but, what people I think don't look at is kind of you're building a pipeline with every call you make, right?
Absolutely.
Like every time you make a call, you're kind of getting them closer to buying. So the more you're making it, the more you're going to see future. And I don't think people can look at a random sales call, right? Where there not a whole lot actually happened, right? You went in there, hey, how's it going? You guys need anything? No, we're kind of good. Okay. You show them whatever new thing you have going at the time or the next event that's happening or the next training. And that's it. And in the end, you're like, did I make a sale? No, not really. But future, yeah, probably. Actually,
yeah, you're working on that relationship.
Yeah. And I think this is this industry, which is why I think the shows, wrapping this back to shows, is huge because it's so much relationship based in this industry. And that's kind of where we always tell people, like, we might not always be the cheapest, but one, we're going to be as close as we possibly can. And two, we're going to make sure that we are always there for you. Right.
And I'm sure my team has heard me say this before, when we walk in, even if it's something that we don't sell, and we have a competitive product or something that's not as competitive, I will tell them, get it. I mean, at the end of the day, we're partners with our customers. All right. We have a vested interest in their success.
Yep.
So, you can't just be that salesman that just, I got to sell you something.
Yeah.
All right. You got to be that guy that's going to say, hey, I'm going to help you out. Even if it's not going to make me a sale right now, I'm going to help you guys out because I want you to be successful long term. And that's a point that we try to push real heavily here.
We talked about that at the first episode we did with, the IT supplies guys, where I said the cool part about our industry, it's B2B, meaning I'm literally financially motivated for you to be successful.
100%.
Like, I don't think sometimes they understand that. Like yes, I want to sell you, sure, but I really want you to succeed because if you do, we will make more money on the back
exactly
end, right?
right.
Like, sure, that sounds selfish, but that's what this is.
what
Right?
it is.
We're both in business here. You want to make money, and I want to make money.
Yep.
And if you make money, I will also make money, as long as it works out in the end. And so, a lot of times we talked about that with like the smaller equipment, where oftentimes it's not worth it on our end to sell small equipment, right? Like the amount of support that we offer you versus the amount we made in the end, it probably doesn't make sense if we're looking at it from a strictly business decision, but we're more looking at it as like, let's get you moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how
we're looking at that next sale and the next sale and the next sale.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it's about. It's helping you guys develop your companies to the point where we can actually be good partners with you long term. So
yeah. Next question. You got questions.
Sorry.
We're looking at you.
Well, I didn't know if you guys were done like talking
I could go on for a long time.
Sales rep talk or not. Like I just heard a bunch of sales rep talk is all I heard. So what makes a bad rep and who is he?
Can we beep some of this out? A bad rep is the opposite of what I said before. It's somebody that really doesn't care. You have to care for your customers, honestly. I love it when when you walk into a shop and the guy's eyes light up because you're there. He has a question or a problem. It's fantastic. On the other side, like I told you, we've had a couple of them where I think, they look out the parking lot, they see you waddling in, and all of a sudden they're locking the door, drawing the shades because they know you're not sensitive to their needs. All right.
Yeah, it's not an 8 to 5.
It's not.
It's not like, it's 5 o'clock, I got to go home. Or it's 8. I better get on the road right now. It's more than that. It's you got to care about what you're doing, how you're doing it.
Yeah.
And
it's tough. I mean, our reps, there's a lot of sign companies out there. I mean, there's 500 or 600 accounts assigned to a rep. There's no way you're going to see them all in a timely manner. So you have to be organized, and some people struggle with that as well. So, but you can't do anything if you don't get going early and get back late. That's what it's about. You got to put a solid day in. So anyways,
you didn't want to answer the second part of that.
Yeah, we'll cut the mics here. We'll have a good discussion about that offline.
And we're back. Thank you.
No, in general, we have a pretty good team. There's a few reps that are still kind of developing their technique, and they need to be pushed a little bit more. But yeah, no, we
remember when I said he's going to politically correct answers? That was a politically correct answer right there. And we're always looking for reps too.
We are. So 100%.
So if you have complaints about your rep, please. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Don't contact.
Or if you're in the sign industry and you're thinking the sales might be for you, give us a shout.
Let's talk.
Take a look at it. All right. The next question is, what vendors of ours are your favorite vendors?
Oh man, I'll tell you what. That's a good question. I can list them.
Go list them.
I'll list them. I'll tell you. It's the ones that we deal with the most. All right. Honestly, I can tell you all of our media manufacturers, Arlon, 3M, all of them. They're fantastic. Those guys are great. I love spending time with them. You got your Don Long. Okay. You got to love Donnie Long.
Yeah.
I got to tell you what. Rusty Plasticade, good dude. That's one of the other guys. Has he been on this yet? I don't think so. Has he?
No, he needs to be on here.
He's avoiding us.
Yeah. We got to get Rusty on here. He's one of those guys that you look at him and you're just like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden you get to know him, and he's a fun guy.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of people. We start looking through, like, even, the laminators, like Jason.
Yep.
There's so many good people in this industry, and there's not a lot of turnover. Like this, the brands we've sold the longest, there's not a lot of turnover. So like, obviously Arlon had some, we like Sam. Now we got Chuck.
Yeah. And we got Sam still.
And now we got Sam back at GFP, you know.
There's good people, and it's the people that hustle. Honestly,
luckily Chuck has a good leadership in A-Binder. He'd be lost. That's for you, Chuck.
Yep. No, we could go on forever, man. Just walking down the hall or walking down the aisles during our open houses, I can't tell you there's a single person there that I avoid. I think we have a great group in this industry.
Yeah. They all come to my house, right? And we're all standing around. Yeah. We all get along. We're all good people. It's all like in the fact that they all know us too.
They're fantastic. We just spent the week with him. He's a great guy.
Yeah. So most of our equipment vendors.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah. There is one equipment vendor I could care less about.
But the other ones are great.
But the other ones are all great. Yep. Yeah. I was gonna say when I looked at that question, favorite vendors, it's harder to say favorite vendors. It'd be a lot easier to say, here's the vendors we don't care about.
100%.
And there's maybe
very few, but there are a couple.
There are a couple, and they're a necessary evil.
And I'll tell you what, our sales reflect that. I hate to say it.
Yeah. They're the bottom.
They do. It's too bad for the companies that they represent, but there's a huge issue with a couple of our suppliers that make it difficult to sell.
We talked about it on the way down to that last show too, where I said we could play like vendor roulette, where you just put a vendor's name on there, and if we can name the rep, then it's probably a pretty decent rep. If if I can't name them, then we got an issue on our end because half my job is talking to vendors. So if I don't know who the rep is, that's going to be a serious issue.
Yeah, mine too.
Then you got some on the other end where sometimes I do know their name, not somebody I want to talk to on a regular basis. So
yeah, you know their name because you've sent them 14 emails and they still haven't replied.
Exactly.
I know their email by heart just in case I need to send another one.
Yep.
See below. Below.
Yeah. Look at email from 3 months, 6 days ago. That has the stuff in it. All they've been doing is forwarding this thing.
It's terrible. Yeah. You shouldn't have to chase people like that.
Yeah. So most of them though, pretty decent, I would say.
Yeah.
Yep.
Easy to get along with. Good people.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
All right. Let's talk about UMRP products.
Okay.
Why do we like them, dislike them?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
What's your take on UMRP products? I got my opinion.
Yeah.
One, they could raise the price.
It's unfortunate, okay, that we have to deal with that. And it's because of a certain player in our market, I think, that's created this issue.
a couple of them now, I think.
A couple now, yeah. So there's two sides of this story. The first thing is I don't dislike them because it puts our ships even keeled. All right. If you let us win that work on experience, knowledge, relationships, delivery, we're going to win it all the time. You know, the worst thing to happen is for our reps or our sales team to go out there and sell a customer a product and then lose that sale on somebody coming in, like Tyler said, calling them and just lowballing the price. It's just, there's nothing worse in my opinion than that. And it happens frequently. I mean, so to answer your question, I think UMRP pricing in those categories where you have these products that, you know, are very common in the market, and it makes us win that work based on our, you know, like I said, our delivery, our knowledge and things like that. I love them. Okay. On the flip side of stuff, they're disarming us too. All right. Is what they're doing is basically setting the price for everybody. Cause if you're not selling at a UMRP, you're probably not selling.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So it's too bad. I mean, that's kind of I don't want it to continue to grow. I don't think it should. I think people need to be a little bit more harsh on the companies that race to the bottom right off the bat. Honestly, I mean, we should be selling your products based on the value of that product, not on just the price. So
yeah. I mean, I think the reason they're doing it too on the other side of things is you'll run into an issue where if you are buying a product right now, right, and you have 4 different companies all kind of trying to race to the bottom, what's going to happen is a bunch of those people are just going to stop carrying it, right? It's like, I don't make any money here, so we're not going to carry it. So that is probably one of the main benefits on the sign shop side of things to UMRP is that we'll carry the product because we're locked, right?
Yep.
We at least can make money on it. We're selling a product now this year where the vendor's pumped about it, right? They're like, hey, you guys are up huge. And we're like, we're not making any money, right?
Exactly.
We're selling it because we are trying to be competitive, and where we're competitive is there's no money to be made.
Yeah. I can't tell you. I mean, I can't tell you how many companies actually still buy from us certain products when they could buy it for less from a different supplier, just because of like I said, the relationship and the service that we provide. So, like I say all the time, you know, it's what's a couple bucks between friends, and that's what it comes down to in this. But it's unfortunate that they had to get to the point where you had to put a floor on the pricing. That shouldn't be. So,
but with that said, with those vendors that have that, you know, UMRP, the UMRP products are number one selling products with those vendors.
Yep.
For the fact that like we can walk in and like we're obviously adding value and like, okay, well, what are you getting from this current guy? Nothing. Like they ship it to us. Like,
sometimes it shows up beat up,
and they don't care because it is what it is. So it's just, they're fast growing, but like the same thing. We're growing with this one company just because we decided like, hey, look, we're just going to match the price. We ain't going to beat the price, but if they're going to sell it for that, then we're just going to match it. And we're never the company that comes in like, oh, well, we can beat their price. We're like, nope, we'll match it. But we're not coming in to lower anybody else's price because,
like I said, sometimes we go in a little bit more and we still get the work.
Oh, we do. That happens often because, you know, everything comes through my desk and I'm like, well, let's just go a few points higher. And like, if they buy it, then they are your friend because we have one sales rep here that'll write like the reason he needs this is he's making friends. Yeah. Like that's literally what he writes on the contract thing. Like, hey, why do you need this? Who are we competing with? I'm just making friends. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, $50 among friends should be good. And he gets to work almost every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of those products become loss leaders for us. That's really what they are. So it's like I said, it's unfortunate because it's some of the most popular items out there. So.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, one of the main things we're talking about here is if you're buying it from somebody else, right, you prefer to use Wensco, you just have to let us know. That's a lot of times the problem, right? Like if you're just like, oh yeah, you guys were more expensive. Be like, that just happens sometimes, right? Prices change all the time. Sometimes we'll just realize, I don't know, we hadn't asked the vendor for better pricing when we probably should have, 17 years ago. We've still been buying on the same price sheet for 37 years.
Or we've had a new price for about 11 years, but we've never updated it.
Yeah,
it happens.
We find the refresh button. On
probably everybody finds it. I mean, we find them. We still find them once in a while. We're all of a sudden like, wait, what? Like, or it's usually a lot of times it's the warehouse guys be walking something up to the counter, going like, they just paid $187 for a box of bulbs. Yeah, apparently.
Yeah,
messed that one up. So. But yeah, I mean, we're always trying to update it. We've been talking about putting out some videos on stuff that's physically dropped in price this year because we've had, since COVID, it's been a lot. I think we talked about it like, oh, nobody's ever going to drop it, right? They're committed to this new price.
Well, even our Coral packs, what is it, 162?
Yeah, which they were 205.
Yep. So that's 100 step stakes and 100 blanks, and it's 162, and it was 205.
Yeah, so we're down 20% on Coral packs from COVID. So that's just one example, right? I mean, Coral's down too, obviously, and step stakes are down. That's how that works.
Coral packs is one of those products you hate as a operations guy because
fills up the van.
And even as my role here, like it fills up the van. And when you're talking $162 for 3 boxes of something, you can fill the van in a hurry and not make much money on that van.
Yeah.
So like, don't buy a lot of them. Just buy enough of them.
Or buy a whole skid.
Or buy a whole skid. We run it different. Yeah.
Buy a skid.
So it's one of those things like even like step stakes and stuff. It's like, it's such a low selling item, but it's bulky.
Yeah.
It's like operations wise, it's like, we don't like it.
Yeah.
Because we want to put the money on the truck.
And that's this year is just Coro and steaks. That's all we do.
I mean, it's election year, right? Like we just nonstop every day.
We're like, we should stock up because we're probably going to sell more. And then all of a sudden, 3 weeks ago, there's apparently a meeting that's like, hey, you know how we stocked up? Yeah, we don't have any. Yep. So,
I mean, I was in Iowa on Saturday bringing back step stakes because we're running low and we had hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And we're running low and it's just like I'm running on a Saturday run off.
Hey.
Well, 3,600 step stakes
if you're
in the back of my truck.
If you're listening to this episode, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. What we really need is a few more candidate changes. Yeah. I need a whole nother swap out of signs again. I don't care who it is or where it is. If that's really would be beneficial right now, though. Yeah.
Yeah. If we could get them both to drop out and start over right now.
Let's do this.
Yep. Just
great.
One on each side. Either
both
way.
Drop. Yeah. Yep. Both change your VPs today.
Yeah. Maybe twice, actually.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Do it again another month.
That'd be ideal. Yeah.
Yep.
It would be awesome. We sell a lot more step stakes that way and a lot more Coral signs. And you guys would make money too, so it's a win for everybody.
Right.
Maybe we could start something like that. You think is it too late?
We need more tornadoes, more hurricanes. I don't want people to get hurt, but those really help us too. So
I don't want anyone to get hurt. I just like high winds. Really, that's what I need. Just the high wind portion of it. Maybe a little bit of heavy rain, so it shorts out some of the signs. Yeah. That'd be ideal. Yeah.
This is an iffy question, right? So we're in the sign industry, we like damage. So should we love hurricanes? Should we love tornadoes? Should we love hail? But then I think of it, okay, well, that's just our industry. What if you own a funeral home?
What a weird business to be in.
What are you hoping for? Like,
how do you project your sales if you own a funeral home?
Oh, it's going to be tied directly to the population, right? I mean, at some point, everybody's going to kick the bucket.
Yeah. I mean, it's
what a weird.
It's a weird.
This is always going to be there.
Hey, how can we get more business, Johnny? Like it's
still run some ads.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's I always thought that. Like, okay, well, there's certain businesses where it's like, wait a minute, you really can't advertise.
No.
I mean, you can, but you can't.
That's why they advertise on T-ball teams. Yeah. It's their best form of advertising.
Yeah. Hey, if your grandma's there watching.
Yep.
People are dying to get in.
Yeah. I just it's unreal. So,
Rick said people are dying to get in.
So yeah, that's one of those things where we see just the win we had recently. Like, there's some signs are down, but.
Yep. This is good. Take it.
All right.
Was that all of them?
That's every question I had today.
Beautiful.
Tony, you survived.
Made it.
Was it as comfortable as you thought it would be?
Oh, yeah.
We'll ask the hard questions next time.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I hope get my heart going. I could do that EKG in about 20 minutes. So hopefully it'll pass.
Well, guys, thanks for listening. Hopefully you found this episode enjoyable, and hopefully you attend some regional trade shows next year.
Oh, yeah.
Open house.
At least come to our open house. Yeah.
So that's the other thing we didn't talk about.
Oh, it's past them now.
Yeah,
because
it
this
is.
show's next Monday.
that's true.
We have
If you
open
came
houses.
to our open houses, thank you.
Yeah.
Second of all,
We will
if you
have-
came to our open houses and you pre-registered and you're asking, hey, did I win the prizes? Next week, Monday, on the podcast, we'll announce all the winners. So tune in and we'll tell you who they are. So that'll be the 21st.
Yeah.
Someone tell
So
me.
the 20.
Yeah, today's the 7th, 14, 21. Yeah.
So on the 21st, we're going to announce all the
21st of
winners.
October on the podcast, we will announce the winners of the prizes.
And Tyler's still here because we did have a success at the first open house. It's
Yeah.
like there's a firing
still working here.
threshold that like if you don't have this many numbers, and we had 500 people through the first 3.
Yeah. There was a chance in the Cleveland open house about the first few hours where
tight.
I thought I was walking
getting
home from
tight.
Cleveland. And
Yep.
let me tell you, that's going to be a long
Yeah.
walk. It's 4.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
So
Listen, and why we're right here, like, okay, we see on LinkedIn thousands of pictures of other people having open houses. Please put, if there's actually anybody there, can you put a picture of
people in
like
the
the
pictures.
people in the pictures? Like, don't just take a picture of a booth with one guy standing in front of it. There has to be more people than that.
yeah, you'd hope so.
Like, but if you scroll through, I challenge you all, scroll through LinkedIn
Yeah.
pictures and look at some of these open houses, not Wensco, that have nobody in them.
yeah.
They had dinner for
So
two
you
at
can
the
see
end of
our-
the.
You can see the videos that I posted from the last couple where there was actually people. So
If you haven't come to an open house, come on out. We actually will have 2 right in Louisville and Indy will be in the
yeah,
February
in
timeframe.
February.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about that next week too. So
cool.
we'll get all the dates and all that good stuff. So
And while we're at it, I don't know if I can announce that. Never mind.
Okay.
There's a customer that has a party.
okay.
So you know who he is, but we can't. I don't know if I can tell. Like, I don't want the whole world showing up to his party.
Maybe we do though.
Yeah, I should
Well,
ask him.
Longest outro of all time.
There you go.
That's not true, actually. The Brothers one was like 75 minutes of outro and 2 minutes of podcast. So thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thank
Bye.
you.